So let's start off with some Disney stuff.
Okay. Do we have any follow-up?
Yes, we do.
We do.
So today is October 10th, and last night was the last running of the Main Street Electrical Parade at Walt Disney World. There are a few websites that live streamed it. Periscope and everything else, and my wife and I sat here in front of the computer and watched the 11 o'clock running of it, and it was sad. But
did you? I watched it. You told me about it, which thanks, because I wouldn't know. I watched it. The video quality was kind of bad. It was kind of well. But I mean, you really liked that parade. I
did, but Chris, I mean, I'm gonna bore everybody to death,
whatever.
But it just But, okay, I will say this. As we were watching it last night, I did mention to Tammy and that this is Disneyland. So it's actually not the parade that I grew up with. Because the one, when I was a kid, it had a Winnie the Pooh section, and it had a Dumbo's Circus section.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And the Dumbo Circus section was actually my family's favorite section because they played like the circus music when it came by, and we got a big kick out of that because it was just so different than the rest of the music in it. And it was like, and for whatever reason, in the Calliope or organ, whatever float that was, it was like the king from Robin Hood was in there for whatever reason. Like, it was just so random. And so anyway, so all that being said is, watching it last night, and it was cool seeing it again, but it wasn't, my version left a long, long time ago. And so, okay, it's done. Okay, let's bring on the next thing.
Better music. So,
well, I don't know that you'll improve on that, but
we talked about it before. It just seems so weird that there's no nighttime parade. Like, has that happened before? Maybe you said it before, I don't remember. But has there been a time when there was no nighttime parade at all? Because they've gone flip-flop between Electrical Parade and Spectrum Magic, right? But has there been a gap where they didn't run any of it?
No, I mean, not since before Main Street Electrical Parade, started running. No.
Right.
So from 77 on, there's been something, but that being said, the parade didn't used to run all year. It would only run during summer and the holidays.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I kind of do remember that.
Yeah,
you kind of have to see, like, it was the weekend. Like, if you went off season, it would only be on the weekend or something.
Right, and we would actually plan our trips to go, like, early June, like, as soon as school got out. And, my dad would have to look up and see if the parade was running,
Right.
And a lot of times it wasn't running until, like, the last day of our vacation. Because that was, like, the first weekend day or something like that. So.
Now it's just open all the time, always.
Pretty much.
But no parade?
No parade.
All right, well, I guess we close that chapter. So much for the Main Street Electrical Parade corner.
Yes.
We'll have to come up with a new segment.
We will. So,
well, actually, hold on. Can I go on a Disney tangent?
Of course.
You mentioned Robin Hood.
Yes.
How do you feel about that movie?
Oh,
this
man.
Is obviously the animated Robin Hood.
Sure. I haven't seen it in a long time, and I'd actually like to watch it again. I don't know. It's been a long, long time. It's funny. We just watched. The kids wanted to watch Alice in Wonderland, the animated Disney movie
from the 50s.
Yeah, and so they had that on the other day. And I'll be honest, I had as big of a Disney nut as I am. I've never really sat down and watched Alice in Wonderland, and I guess I can thank my lucky stars that I have never wasted my time watching that until I was 45 years old. Because it is an awful movie. I mean, I heard that...
Is it the movie that bothers you, or the story?
It's just an awful story. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
And I had heard that Walt didn't like it. I mean, like when it was finished, it was like, "Oh, what is this?" And but there's so many attractions, right? And
right.
and floats,
and it's just part of the
and everything else. And it's like, maybe I'm missing something. And so I was, I was like, okay, yeah, let's watch it. And then I watched it. I'm like, oh no, this is bad.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever watched it.
So that's why with Robin Hood, I don't know if it'd be the same thing or it's not. It's not one that stands out for me.
Yeah, it was kind of from the dark times, right? So
yeah, it was.
Yeah. It has a really big place in my heart because I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of old myself, and back in the old dark ages, we didn't have VCRs, Blu-rays, and Netflix, and so I had the LP, the long playing record. Of the story of that from the movie. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, so absolutely. It was like it might have even been a double LP or something, but it was like basically all the audio from the entire thing, and there were drawings on the album cover that so you could kind of so in my head I've seen the movie 1,000 times, but really I just listened to it on the thing. So I listened to that so much, and and I love the music in that. It was things imprint on you when you're young. But I've watched it more recently because my son watched it, but it's okay. It held its own. But yeah, for me, it's got. Anyway, it just makes me think of those records and people today. I don't know how many people even remember those or know about those, but that's how we got our Disney back in the day.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So, sorry for the dad.
No, it's fine, and. Yeah, the music, Roger Miller, I love that, and so, and that's part of the thing too. I listen to so much Disney music in my life, and so I'll know a lot of the songs from these movies that I've never even seen, and so when the movie comes on, it's like, oh, I can sing along to it
right.
almost.
Well, this was kind of like that because I heard there'd be some audio segments that all you hear is audio rustling or thing, and they're and I watch the movie and go, oh, that's what's going on when that blob of sound is going by. So,
right.
Yeah. I don't have these anymore. It almost makes me want to try and find one on eBay. I don't know where that would be fine, but...
you'll actually be able to find it fairly easy.
Probably so, yeah. I got nothing to play it on, but... Yeah,
I do.
So,
send it to me and I'll convert it for you.
Memories. Anyway, all right. And thus concludes the memory portion of the show.
So, last weekend, well, actually, just a few days ago, because this is Monday, but Friday, Hurricane Matthew strolled through town, didn't it?
Was there a hurricane?
Well, that's what I heard on the news. So I'm hoping you can tell me.
Man, they're stressful. For people that don't live in areas with hurricanes, it's hard to say what's better because I've lived in different regions of the country, and some places have natural disasters that just kind of spring up on you, earthquakes. Mm-hmm. But then they're hurricanes, and they're bad because you don't know they're coming. Oh my God, earthquake, and get under a table, and
right.
And so they have their kind of stress. Hurricanes are the opposite kind of stress in that days ahead that something has the potential to make a very bad day, week, or month for you, at best.
Yeah.
So we started midweek last week, and it's all anybody can talk about and think about, and you're watching, and I keep refreshing hurricane trajectories because as they come in this way, but yeah, so it rolled by, and what did Disney do about it? Did they just
they shut down.
Okay.
They shut down everything. They don't. They really don't. And they started announcing on Thursday that things were starting to get canceled, and the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party was going to be canceled, and then as the day went on, they said, okay, we're going to here are our plans. We're going to close for Friday, and then we'll see what's going on for Saturday. So they actually shut down, and yeah, it's a fairly rare occurrence. It's only been the fourth. It was the fourth day, third day due to hurricanes that the resort's been closed.
And I think I've been here for two, if not all three of those.
No, you've been there for all three of them because
that's what I thought. Okay.
the first one was in 2004 for
Charlie.
those for hurricanes for those for Charlie. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the first time. So you've been there for all of them actually because the first one was 9/11, and
that's right.
the park had already opened, but they quickly closed it. So.
Yeah. Actually, I know it's not on the agenda, but that's how long did they close for that? I don't remember.
Just that day.
Just the one day?
They opened the next day, but it was a lot of people didn't want to go.
Yeah,
So
well,
it was
sure.
it was still empty, and Disneyland did not open because of the time difference. They actually, it was 7:00 in the morning there, or close to 8. So they had enough time to not open at all. So
Yeah, so they closed. They closed all the parks, right? Disney
they
World.
did. So one reason I want to, I like the idea that you brought this up is I read this. I saw on Twitter Friday, people remarking about this person's tweet, and she took a picture of a box lunch that she was given, that she bought at Disney. So
Okay.
I'll put a link in the show notes. But the woman is, and I don't know how to pronounce the name. Oni, was that? Oni Hartstein.
Okay.
So she was staying at the Port Orleans French Quarter, and Disney announced that that they were going to close down, and that all the regular restaurants were going to be closed because that's the reason they closed. Part of the reason is so the employees could
Right.
stay home and take care of their
Yep.
families and prepare and everything else.
Right.
So they said, "Oh, you'll go to the lobby and get a box meal." Okay, so she says she didn't worry about trying to get transportation to go anywhere, to the store, stock up or anything. She figured, we're at Disney, right? And
Right.
they'll take care of us. So she went to the lobby to get her box lunch, and this was Thursday night.
Okay.
And the picture she tweeted, it's of the lunch, and it's 2 pieces of white bread with a slice of cheese and I think maybe a slice of ham or turkey, 1 chocolate chip cookie, a whole apple, and a bag of pretzels, a little bag of pretzels.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, well, it's a special situation and everything else. But the problem that I found was that, and that she found, is that they charged her $12.99 for that.
Whoa. Okay.
Or you could
Wow.
use one of your Disney dining plan credits for it.
Okay.
So, and when she says when she got hers, the wait in line was about half an hour. But when the parks closed and people started going back to the hotel, because the parks on Thursday closed at 5:00, the line grew to 3 hours.
Wow.
To pay $13
Wow.
for this measly sandwich and apple.
Okay. Well, what should they have done? I mean,
So-
and I should say this kind of fascinates me. I love to see how the machine of Disney handles things,
Right.
Like so out of
Right.
the ordinary.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know they did this. But I guess
Right.
I didn't think
It's
about
something-
the restaurants closed and stuff, and like
Right,
how do
it's
they
something
feed
I
these 50,000 people that are
Right. So it's something I wouldn't have thought of either. But so she, so on Twitter, I saw some of the responses was, well, one that got me, and the one that got me thinking was, what? Just because there's a hurricane, do you expect Disney to give out free food? And I started thinking about it, and I read this blog post that she put, and I mean, quite honestly, yeah, like for what they gave, I mean, it's not like they gave her, a steak or a hamburger
Right.
or anything that was cooked or anything,
Right.
Now, I know the sandwich still had to be prepared and everything else, and you had to have people there preparing this, and there are a lot of people.
That they're probably paying, double time to be there during,
Yeah, true. But I mean, for what you get, and for all these tourists who are there, they're, for the most part, most of them are locked in because they have flights, they don't have cars, they can't get transportation to go shopping on their own or anything else. And so, I mean, that's part of the appeal of Walt Disney World, right? Is that, you enter...
You don't be bothered with real world stuff.
Right, you enter that bubble, and that's it. Everything's taken care of you, right?
Right.
I don't know, it just seems really...
So is that just the issue of how much they charge for it?
I think that's what's getting...
If they had charged $5, would have been...
I think that would be a lot. Like, I could... Because I'm thinking, if it was me, my God, I'd pay... whatever, for almost $50 for 4 little box lunches for my family.
That's true. Yeah.
So
I guess in that context, yeah.
And so I don't know. I think that's part of it is the cost. Like $13 is way too much for what you get. I mean, anywhere.
Yeah. Do you think does that cost line? Is this like a box thing they normally sell? Like where would that price come from? Yeah, it doesn't.
I don't know, and that's the whole thing. I don't know where.
I wonder if that's their calculated cost. I wonder if they would say, "Hey, we sold it at cost. That's how much it is. We had to staff and we had to do blah 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 blah." And apples aren't that much money, and white bread's not. But I mean, just in the aggregate, I don't know.
All right, but how much are you paying an employee? Even at double time,
as little as possible.
Okay, so let's just pretend.
What is it? 10 an hour? Is that kind of what the?
Well, you see, it might be. I mean, that's what I would think. But let's be generous. Let's be generous, and let's include benefits, whatever. Let's say you're paying $15 an hour. Okay, pretend.
Right. Well, there you go. It probably takes an hour to put that box lunch together.
So double that. So $30 per employee. Okay.
Okay.
So how many employees do you need?
I don't know.
Well, okay. So say you need, I don't know, 10.
But even
I don't know.
You don't have to do that because you can just figure out, how many boxes could one employee make in an hour, and it's not one, right?
It's not one, exactly. So
or 2.
So I kind of throw that. That's where I'm getting at, and
that just seems like a pretty steep. I could see it if they said $10. It just seems like something we'll just pay $10. Where did they come up? Was it 12 or $12.99?
$12.99.
Yeah,
or you can use your Disney dining plan credit. It got to that level of detail. You could actually, instead of spending it on, a meal at Columbia Harbor House, you could use it for this.
Yeah, it's strange. Yeah.
So
that does seem weird.
So okay. So this is the idealist Glenn speaking now, but I would think. So this is Disney. Mm-hmm. Disney prides itself on customer service and making people happy and making people want to come back and everything else.
But where have you been?
Well, so I think that's where.
Which Disney is this? I want to go there.
That's where I'm. Times have definitely changed because I don't think in the past it would have been this way, but I think in the current, since everything is run by spreadsheets and everything else. That this is the reality we're in, and it's just sad to me. Yeah. It's just sad. If I'm there for a hurricane, I planned this trip. I've spent thousands of dollars. A hurricane comes. My flight's on Sunday. I plan to be here the whole week, throughout the weekend. I don't have a car. I'm not, I don't know Orlando. I don't know where a store is. I don't, whatever. It might cost me $50 to get a cab, $100. I mean, who do I? I don't know. But so Disney, take care of me.
Yeah, but do you think this is a calculated? Hey, let's make some profit on this. This strikes me more as just I don't know, somebody.
But why
just sort of random? I don't know. What do we charge for that box lunch? $12.99. Okay, well then make it $12.99. It just they didn't really give it that much thought. They just kind of said
So that's the flip side of this is I've been trying to find. I've been Googling and everything else. This is the only story I've heard about this, and
oh really?
Yeah, and so I've been trying to get another source and see if this was really truly what was going on throughout the resort, or is this just an isolated incident at
interesting. Okay.
Port Orleans where exactly what you said, the manager there is like, oh, I don't know, we have all these people, let's charge this. And maybe they do it so that, people don't get back in line and get, 18 box lunches or something like that.
I didn't think about that, but that may be in their defense. It may be if they price it too low.
Yeah.
Then people get greedy and
Chris,
then they run out.
You wouldn't want to pay $2 for this lunch that the picture.
But I mean, you're thinking too logically. It could be the worst garbage in the world, but people think they can get something over on somebody, then they're going to do it, right? So, I guess they could have done a voucher, and everybody gets a ticket, they get one. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess they could have dealt with that. It's weird. It makes me wonder if there's how much do they prepare for disasters like this? Like people have binders on their desk and get the green binder.
Right.
We got a hurricane.
Right. And we do. At my work, we absolutely do. Before hurricane season starts, we get everybody together, have a big meeting. We have a binder. We have a checklist. Okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what employees need to do. Blah blah blah. I mean, we absolutely do have that. And like you said, from when we started talking about this, a hurricane is not like an earthquake or tornado. It's coming. So it's not like on Thursday was the first they heard about it and had to scramble. Right. I mean, they really should have had a meeting starting on Monday or so to say, hey, okay, what are we going to do? What's our plan?
Now we're not going to have staff, and these things are going to be open,
exactly.
These things aren't.
Right.
So, do you think the people at the deluxe resorts were sitting around, dining on their free steaks and lobster, and
I don't know. That's what I don't know. That's why I would love to have another perspective on this from somebody else.
Would you like another lobster with your steak? Well, yes, I would. Thank you very much.
I don't think it was. I really don't think it was like that because
no.
But,
I want to imagine. Don't ruin it.
But did they have the same box lunch, or did they have? I mean,
don't you think you would have heard about it in more places?
Yes, that's what's bugging me about this.
And it's also, I know they have to shut things down, but with the number of employees they have, which many, by the way, live right outside the parking lot there. I mean, it's not like everybody has to go, I know many will, but they have so many employees and so many that need to work. So many, that need to work, and so much infrastructure for food.
Right.
And I would imagine so much food that's already pre-made, that has already been, just take all the food from Harbor House and ship it over,
That's absolutely right.
So it seems kind of odd they would have to resort to, actually, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like, you ever go to a what's the word I'm looking for? A convention, a show, what do they call those things? Shoot. You go to a week-long thing and they seminars and stuff, and they have those box lunches. It almost strikes me that it came out of that pool, because you'll get that kind of garbage at those kind of things.
It could be.
Interesting, but there's so many restaurants, man. So much food.
I know.
It strikes me hard to
even
believe
at the resort, even at the resorts.
Right.
I mean, they have so much food that if the the hurricane really hits and the power's going to go out, they need to use the food anyway.
Just drag a net in Bay Lake and get some fish. I mean,
really
live off the land. Have they not been to Epcot? Go ride the land.
I was just going to say.
Or did I steal that? Sorry.
No, but it's true.
You got Mickey watermelons over there. I mean, just go grab some.
So I don't know. That's why, like I said, I've been trying to find something else, and I haven't. And so I'm so confused about this. I don't know.
It's a good thing you don't have to work for a living at times like this.
Yeah, I know, right?
Not during work hours.
No.
So that's it? Just this one tweet? That's all you found?
Yes.
You baited me into this whole conversation. That's all you have is that one?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna have to have some follow up next thing. Hey,
please, I hope you do, and I hope you prove me wrong.
Let's get a Disney employee on here from Port Orleans and ask him.
I know, because I'm looking at pictures. She took pictures to document this, so it's not like it's just text. It's like.
All right. You want my theory? Here's my theory.
Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah.
Here it is. My theory is this is a normal box lunch that they have, a meal that's in there. Because, they have those refrigerated cases or whatever that most of the time we'd never look at, right? Mm-hmm. I bet they have these in there.
No.
They have lots.
You need to see the picture.
I guess I do. But let me do my theory. They have those in there. They're priced $12.99. And it's just, that's all that was, because these people couldn't go to other restaurants. They all just descended on this place, and that's pretty much all that was left. Like, they sold out everything, and this is all they had left. That's my theory.
Okay.
No? Is it wrong?
No, that's the whole point. I don't know, because...
Man, this is so, we're going to leave this so unresolved.
Good.
Right,
tune in
just cue the music.
week.
Just cue the music and let's get out of here. I can't
Tune
do
in
this.
next week for the follow-up on
So
that.
much ambiguity. I can't check Snopes. I mean, nothing will answer this for me.
I know. All right. So, anything else about the hurricane?
Yeah, you know,
Locally?
it's... Huh?
In Orlando, you know, you're the local correspondent, so I'm looking to
I was going to do my news music, but I'll pass on that. Ladies and gentlemen, the weather here was fine. It was fantastic. You know, it was... we lucked out, man. And for those who don't know hurricanes, I work with some people that never have dealt with hurricanes before, and so like, you know, what's this going to be like? And I'm like, well, the risk is always like there's this huge buildup, and then nothing happens, right?
Yeah.
That actually things are good, and you don't get the bad weather, which then kind of morbidly disappoints people,
Yes.
which is a little weird.
No, I
do you? I guess it's
yeah,
human
because what
nature.
happened? No, we go through that here too. Because what happens is
Aw, nothing got destroyed. Aw.
no.
Right?
What happens is that people next hurricane, they're like, nothing
Yeah,
happened
right,
last
and
time,
that's the worry,
governor
right?
was saying people will
Yep.
die and everything else,
Yep.
so
Yep.
we're fine.
Right. Yeah. People did die. It's sad. You know, some people
Yeah.
do not listen. But yeah, I mean, where I live, which is pretty close to Magic Kingdom, is so far inland that the way this thing went, thankfully for us, stayed very far east. So not much came in this far. I mean, it was like just really bad stormy day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does kind of, you know, because people that don't know, they'll be like, all this over nothing, you know, just a bunch of ninnies, they're just trying to scare you, whatever. But I've been through one that was pretty bad and a couple others that were not great. And it can be pretty scary because it is literally a force of nature that you just you can't do anything about. You know,
Yep.
and you're at its mercy. So,
That's right.
you know, I applaud Disney. It's got to be hard for them. They got to, you know, they don't want to disappoint the tens of thousands of people that are there on their vacation, and have, you know, many of them probably have saved up months, years, decades to do whatever. But by the same same token, they can't take the chance. I mean, you know, they don't want to have anybody get hurt because they evacuated the campgrounds too, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah. So I was like everybody in campers and everything. Did they just like tell those people like go to a hotel or get
Yeah, they
camper
moved.
out of here?
I mean, they
What did
moved
do?
to other Disney hotels. Sure.
But like they would leave their, like if I had an RV there, I left my RV.
Oh,
and I
your
went-
own camper?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or is it just like the
probably.
people that had the cabins?
I honestly, I don't know. That's a good
Man,
question.
you're so
I really
full
don't
of
know.
half information today.
I know,
can't-
I am.
You're better than this, man. You are better than this. Well, anyway, fascinating. But you know what fascinates me the most? I don't know why, but I kind of do because I'm a nerd. But I love to see the facilities preparations they do, especially with the monorails.
Yeah.
So, you know, 10 years ago, whenever the last one was, the last big hurricane went through, there was some cool shots where they had, you know, because they got the big green binder down of monorail operations, and they took two monorails and they put them. They basically get the noses. They touch each other.
Yeah,
They put them. I think they were in the TTC, which I'm not sure why they were there and not back in the stable. But anyway, they put them in the TTC. Oh, you know what? I bet for like maybe to have them ready for.
I was going to say
evacuation
for
type things.
emergencies or anything.
Yeah. Cool. See, it's in the binder. I bet. And they put them nose to nose because I guess you know that was the safest way for them to be, you know, as far into the TTC as they could.
Right.
And then this time around, I saw somebody posted. They got like a big giant storm door that goes in the Contemporary that goes over the openings for the monorails there, which I'd never seen before. So I love that kind of stuff, just because it's like you don't, you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of behind the scenes. You know, a lot of people work really hard to, you know,
Yeah.
make sure people are safe, make sure property's safe, and it's some cool stuff. So
Right.
you know, thankless work for them.
And that's exactly what is. That's why I wanted to bring up the story about this stupid lunch, because Disney does do so much. They are always so well prepared. The operations team does a phenomenal job all the time. The regular days and emergency days. I mean, they do a great job. And so I think that's what bugs me too about this, is that it just seems so un-Disney. It just seems so either a bad decision was made, or if they are doing that and that's policy now, then it needs to be looked at again or something. I mean, it just, that's what boggles my mind, is that they've always done such a great job with customer service and taking care of everybody, and for something like that to pop up, it's like, it's just so weird.
Yep. Yeah, it is kind of strange and isolated. We need to get more info. We'll
right,
get
I didn't mean to.
Let's get our team on it. And,
everything on that, because but
but it's a bit of news that came out of it. So
yeah. So anyway.
All right. Well, actually, hey, along those lines, can I go out of order on our things here?
Wait, what?
Can I interject on our topics? Can I interject something?
We have an agenda?
Yeah, you put something together because you're a control freak. But the
that's great.
Just because can I do my virtual
absolutely.
ad? Can I do, because I think this is a good time. So
yes,
because we're talking about people helping people and organizations helping people, and anyway. So I asked Glenn. I said, Glenn, as long as we don't have actual ads on this podcast, and who knows if we ever will. Please let's have ads. But if we don't. And even if we do, I want to feel like we're doing something more than just a show and trying to make some money out of it. So on another podcast once, I heard them do kind of a special read for a charity, which I thought was great. I think they called it a reverse ad. Basically, it's basically asking to give money to people rather than getting money from the advertisers. So that'd be kind of cool if we did that. And thankfully Glenn said he dug that idea. So this show, I want to talk about the Red Cross because it kind of goes along with this. I tried to pick an organization that nobody could have an issue with, but everybody has an issue with every organization. But I think this one's pretty hard to criticize. I mean, it's made of lots of people that just do everything they can to help other people. And I've given money to it. I hate to admit I've never given blood directly to the Red Cross. I need to change that. But I have donated money before. But if you don't know much about the Red Cross, you should look into it. Do you know how long they've been around, Glenn? No Googling?
I really don't.
Take a guess. When do you think the Red Cross came to be?
I would say probably... I would say something like World War I or something.
Yeah, I think that's when it kind of came to prominence, but actually started in the 1880s.
Whoa. Yeah,
by a single person. So it's basically a mission by a single person that wanted to change the world. And it's still around to this day, and is, I don't know the stats, the numbers, but it's got to be one of, if not the biggest international aid organization there is, right? Or
yes.
One of them, I would guess. So, great organization. They help a lot of people, and I've never had to use their services. I hope I never do, but, it is nice to know that, had this hurricane been worse here, I know there would have been aid and other assistance by the Red Cross. So, great organization. So if you have the time to donate blood or you have money to donate money, I should do either one of those. And also, while I was looking this up, I said I noticed on their website they have an app, and I'm like, let me go check this out. This app. They don't have one app, Glenn. They have like a dozen apps on the store.
Wow.
On like the for iOS, for Android.
Really?
And right. Who would have guessed that? They have basically the kind of app you would expect, which is like emergency preparedness, etc. But they also have first aid app. So if you have that on your phone and you're someone needed to know about first aid, blood donations, tell you all about that and where you can go to do that. You can put in your blood type to have that remember. I mean, like you go look at it, do a search on the store. You don't do it right now, but a special one about tornadoes. I mean, they have a lot of good modern technology usage here. So even more kudos to them. So if you can help them out, help them out.
And we'll put some links to those apps in the show notes, and we'll put a link to the Red Cross to where you can donate to them.
There you go. Or blood.
Sounds good. Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Glenn. I feel good.
Good.
So what's next, Glenn? What are we going to talk about?
So next is the refresh of Tomorrowland. So right now they are doing this refresh, and they haven't announced anything. Like, they're just like elves have come in, and they've started painting the first thing that was obvious was the rock formation.
Yeah.
As you entered Tomorrowland.
I saw that back when I went early September. I saw they were painting it, and it's not a surprise they paint. I've seen them repaint it, they refresh it, but the color palette had completely changed. It wasn't the natural rock stuff anymore.
No, and I think it looks pretty good. I mean, the previous color, it was more like a southwestern theme kind of.
Right.
I mean, it was like I guess it could be like Mars too. You know.
Yeah, I can see that.
But this is like fantasy, right? It's not bad. I kind of like it.
So this is, and I've been following this. So this is kind of a stealth upgrade, if you will. I'll call it an upgrade. Like, I mean, normally these are part of the bigger. Yeah, in 2016 we're doing a refresh of Tomorrowland, but
Right.
it sounds like you're saying this is just a like nobody knew this was coming.
That's pretty. As things happen, it's I see them on the progress on the Disney fan sites. They're taking pictures and showing them. So they painted the rocks, and then they painted the outside of Carousel of Progress, which we talked about last episode or so. And
In really different colors. I mean, like vibrant.
yes, right.
So way when you consider where Tomorrowland started, it was very stark white.
Yeah.
Apollo mission kind of feel back in the 70s. Right? No, totally.
Yeah.
I know. I'm watching this video you posted of these lights. These lights look cool.
So painting of the rocks of Carousel Progress.
Yeah.
They had a few years ago, because I've even seen it because we had been back there. But they painted the entrance to the Wedway. People.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it's called?
I remember.
Or
It's the People Mover.
People Mover. Yeah.
It's always the People Mover.
So the People Mover, that's orange and red and really loud colors. But then today I saw that they put LED lights on that side of Space Mountain. And they changed...
Wait. You said on that side of Space? Like, it's not all the way around?
No, I said on Space Mountain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, on the outside. I'm sorry. On the outside of Space Mountain.
I see. Okay.
And apparently the lights change every 10 minutes. So it's not like a constant,
How long is it going to be before they do, like, the projection thing like they have in the castle?
Well, they do that during Mickey's Not So Scary and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. They display, not to that level of detail,
Right.
but they display spiders or snowflakes and things like that.
What do they call those? Gobos? Those sort of silhouette kind of
Sure.
things? Stuff like that.
If you say so.
Okay.
So that's really cool. And then the Carousel of Progress got a new sign. So the Gears sign,
Which I
that's
like.
gone. And you like the new one or the
I like
Gears
the new
sign?
one.
Yeah, the new one is really cool looking.
Yeah.
It kind of harkens back to the original from when it was when it came to Disney World.
Yeah. Also feels a little Epcot-y.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Huh,
So
I like it.
So it's really nice what they're doing. It's just like quiet. It's like, hey, we're plussing this area, and it's like, all right, guys, go for it.
That's when they're the best, man. When they just constantly go through and refine and update, rather than just being a gigantic thing. Look at you, new tomorrow. Fantasyland.
So the
That's cool. I gotta get out there and see this.
The photography nerd in me really wants to get out there.
Now you have a reason to go.
and take some pictures of this stuff at night.
Yeah.
So when they're done, man, I really I'd love to get out there.
Yeah. Poor Tomorrowland, though. I mean, I want to like it so much, but it just struggles for identity so much, right?
Hopefully with the closure of Stitch, and if they bring in a good Wreck-It Ralph, even though we had that discussion, but it's still a new attraction. Bring a little bit of life to the area. I mean, Space Mountain's there. It's not going to change. It's what it is. Which is awesome. Carousel Progress, that hopefully will not close or change. You have the Wedway.
It's you know what it is? It's that whole area. It is, unfortunately, as you're walking into Tomorrowland, that whole the left side with that's currently Stitch, and the right side that's the laugh floor, and then like you look in front of you, and it's just the launch bay food thing, and just it's so devoid of it doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the land I want to love the most, and yet, like you compare that theming to Adventureland, right, or Frontierland, or whatever. It doesn't quite have the same oomph.
Right. So I think they're trying to address that a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. And I like this. I mean, it gives it kind of, because there's always that debate of, what should it be, and in France they went with kind of retro Tomorrowland, right?
Sure.
So, or do they just try to keep it really futuristic, or so? Well, I like this vibe though.
Yeah, I do too. So kudos to Disney for doing that.
All right, I have to take some pictures.
Yeah, you can take some pictures and then share them.
Yeah, well,
until I can get there.
Sure.
And then
please
we'll
see episode 2. And
nice.
I haven't been back since.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but these look cool. Now, all right.
Yes.
Now, along with this, are they going to change the soundtrack at all? Because I'm pretty sure the soundtrack in Tomorrowland has been the same for 15 years, if not more. When was the last time they did like a major change to Tomorrowland?
To the music?
Just to the general, like, when was the last update? Because that's when they changed the music.
94 was the last update. That's when they changed it.
I think it's the same music.
No, it's not. It's not. That ran until 2003, and then in 2003 they changed it to what it is now.
I'm gonna have to listen to it because there's this one song, and I know because it's a jazz recording that I have.
Yeah,
it's like jazz fusion or whatever. They don't play that one anymore.
No.
Maybe I just, you know what it is? I know what it is. I heard it so many times, it's just stuck in my head. Now I just hear it as I walk around. All right. I'll defer to your greater knowledge, but I don't believe you.
I have it all, so if you want to hear it, I'll...
Yeah, you know what I do.
Share it with you. The Bubble Shuffle.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
I know. They stopped using that in 2003.
You're scary. No way.
Sure.
No, I've heard it since 2003.
Nope. No, you haven't.
Oh my god. Yes, I have.
Okay.
Do you know what? Well,
year when you're there next time, just wait around in Tomorrowland. And
maybe it's not there today, but I've heard it definitely since 2003.
Okay. All right.
For sure. How do I prove this now? All right. Well, hey, we got another bit of follow up for later.
Yes, we do. And that's
Chris's pathetic journey to prove Glenn wrong.
Oh, please. Yeah, I'm wrong all the time.
All right. Let's move this along. What else we got?
All right. Well, first, a word from our sponsor. This portion of the show is brought to you by XS Tech and their new phone, the SIR7. Yes, there have been a few problems with the new model of the phone exploding, as lead tester Skippy can attest to. But Chairman Clench has assured everyone of the benefits of the phone and the new AI that will help you control your life. I'm hearing about some other things they're working on, like teleportation, and I can't wait to try it out. There's nothing that could possibly go wrong when XS Tech is involved. So, seize the future with XS. Thank you. Alright, so next, I think our final...
Wait, where are we at? We're at an hour. Do you want to get into? I don't know how much time we're going to give.
Yeah, because this will be brief.
Okay, let's do it.
So the last thing is, so Chris and I are fairly big Star Wars fans, as is probably everybody
as required
would ever listen to this. Yeah, exactly. And so. We try to read some of the Star Wars universe books, especially now that there's a new canon and everything else. And we've listened to a few of them. They haven't really turned us on, but I started listening to this book, Bloodlines. It came out in May of this year, and it is a story about Princess Leia. So, it takes place between episode 6 and episode 7. It's not right after 6, so there's a little bit of time that passes. And I finished the book first. I think Chris either started it while I was listening to it or right around there. And it is a very good Star Wars book. I really, really enjoyed it. It was one that, and I'm probably going to steal from Chris here, but it's one. It doesn't matter if it's related to Star Wars or not. It was just a really good book with a good story. Do you agree, Chris?
Regrettably, I do.
Yeah.
Because, for whatever reason, I always try to, I don't believe Glenn the first time he tells me something. I like
That's
that.
true. That's 1,000%
It's,
true.
what did Reagan say? Trust but verify. And, yeah, but I joke, but mostly. But also, you should point out that you and I tried to read a book that came out before this that was part of the new set. I can't remember it now. Aftermath, I think it was.
Yes, I think that's the name of it.
And I think you and I agreed that overall that book was just a terrible book. So, and the problem I have with most Star Wars stuff is the books, and I've even tried to get into comic books, because you want, especially now that there's so much that's included as canon in the Star Wars universe, like I want to fill in like all the stories I can if it's, a quote official story. It's just the problem I've had with most of the Star Wars books I read, almost all of them, is that they're so juvenile and they're so like winky winky, hey, somebody got his arm cut off with a lightsaber,
Absolutely.
yuck yuck, and it's the characters are so superficial and
two-dimensional.
It's at best, and so so it's been so hard to find good stories, but this is a good book, and and like you said, even if it weren't a Star Wars book, just the story itself, it could have been set somewhere else, and I think it still would have held up as a really good book. And I think it's I hate to get all whatever, but most of the genre is very sort of from a male viewpoint, even if it's not literally about male characters. I think it's written by, read by mostly males. Obviously not everyone, but I think there's an overarching sense that it's that. This, I thought, and I should say, I did not read the book. I listened to the Audible version, so it's a bit sort of dramatized. But it was written by a woman, and it was read by a woman on the Audible version. And I think because of that, it had a lot, and because it was primarily about Princess Leia, it had a lot more depth to it. She wasn't just the sort of superficial, princess got older and had to do her thing. There's some depth there, I think, and there's and I'm not sure if I just read too much into it, but I think there's even some storylines there that were kind of like barely hinted at, that gave it even more depth. I don't want to give any spoilers to, but yeah, really good read. I thought it was well worth the time. So I hope there are follow-ons to it.
Me too. I really do. And like you, I listened to it on Audible as well, and it was a really good performance. And you're right. I guess I never really thought about that specifically. That it that it is really more from a female point of view than a male point of view, because of the lead character and really lead characters. And so it's just a great book, and I know we just keep saying it's great, but we don't want to give away any spoilers. but I think we can safely say that because of the timeline that it takes place in, it does advance the story, and it does give some insight into how Leia progresses as within the not the rebellion, but the resistance. So it does advance, and like you, I hope that I hope there are others that follow it.
They certainly left it open too.
They did, and that's what I was
give
just
anything
say.
away, but there's definitely lines there that they got to go fill in. So
right. And so hopefully it'll bring it up to episode 7, because it doesn't just involve Princess Leia. It does give a bigger picture too of how things happen to get to episode 7. So it's definitely a good read, good story, and it fills in a lot of gaps.
And it hints at a lot of depth with her relationship with her husband, and
yes, it does.
Maybe her son a little bit later.
Yep.
So
wait, she has a son?
Definitely worth it. maybe you heard something about that.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming pretty much everybody's seen episode 7. If not, then what's wrong with you? And
right, and just to give some reference to the timeline, her son is pretty much an infant at that time.
Oh, is he that young? No.
Yeah.
No.
I think so.
Mm-mm.
No,
got to disagree with you there.
Okay.
No, I think like what we would consider like later elementary,
Okay.
middle schoolish. You know,
All right.
I can't. I'll tell you later why I think that.
Yeah,
spoilers,
because I thought I remember
there's
something about Han holding him or feeding him or something. Maybe I'm way off.
You dreamt
All
that
right.
one. So,
I guess I did.
Unless it was
Jesus.
a flashback or something. But
Mm.
no, I'll tell you why when we.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
no, I
no,
believe you. I believe you. Okay,
Yeah, I
so
think
listen to
it's-
Chris. He finished listening to it.
Yeah, maybe even older actually,
recently.
depending on how they. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the timeline roughly. Yeah, it might
Oh,
even be like
wait.
early
Oh, I
teens,
know,
preteen,
I know.
somewhere in
You're
there.
right. You're right because I know exactly why now.
Yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
totally worth it. Whether you read
Once
it
again,
or you
Chris is right.
listen to the audible book, totally worth the time and the money.
Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, so good. I'm listening to it. I'm like, I wish they would make this into a movie, and I
Yes.
don't think they would, but I would love to. This would be a great timeline to see. Kind of the
Absolutely.
prequels past the prequels. So
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
do it.
agree 100%.
yeah, see, well, this is like a public service because we have given now people another way they can give more money to the Disney machine because
Right.
clearly they're suffering. If it be based on the
are.
box lunch.
Man.
Box Lunchgate of 2016, then they're clearly strapped for finances and need more money. So go give them some for this book.
Yes.
And thank you, Glenn. Thank you for your recommendation.
See? Every now and then.
Even though I went, all right, I'll read it.
I know you did.
Yeah. Do you say, if you listen to a book on Audible, do you count that as reading the book?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's a silly conversation. Of course it is.
Is it a silly conversation?
It is.
I don't know. Okay. I have tried, like, as I say, is reading getting the story, or is reading like your eyeballs looking at the words? Is that reading?
Technically, yes, that's reading, but
Is it?
you are
I'll look it up.
absorbing the story. So
Yeah.
one way or the other, whether you read it or listen to it, you're getting the story. So yes, it's reading.
Okay. All right. Well, then I read it. I'm gonna count it.
Howard Stern has this argument with Baba Booey all the time because he listens to books on his
Oh, really?
commute, and
Oh,
so
okay.
Howard doesn't think he's reading them, but I agree
Oh,
with Gary.
okay.
So
Yeah. Well, this often comes up when they talk about Audible because they sponsor a lot of podcasts and people will say
yes.
read it. But anyway,
But you know what? I get the information, and I get it a lot quicker than if I were to sit down and read it, in the few minutes I have to,
yeah.
I'm usually listening to it in the car when
Right.
it's generally downtime. I can feed my brain a little bit. So,
Yeah. Yeah, my
Yes.
problem is that if I can read something, I'm probably going to be on a computer, online, whatever. So I almost never read books anymore.
yes.
Which is a little sad, but
It is.
I actually bought this one twice because I have this sort of I'm addicted to the syncing technology that
Whisper
that-
Sync?
Yeah, that Amazon has. So
Yeah.
because there are times I'm like, you know what, I just want to sit, I want to kind of
Yeah.
unwind a little bit, and I want to actually read with my eyeballs, and
Right.
so it'll actually sync between the audio book and the Kindle book, so I can just kind of pick up and go back and forth. So
I haven't tried that yet, but
no?
I'm listening to Washington right now.
oh yeah,
And I'd actually like to read part of that, because that's such a long book, and it's,
Yep.
in my relatively short commute, I don't get enough out of it. So that's
Yep.
one I would actually like to read.
Yeah, I've done that with like Neil Stephenson books because they tend to be a little bit longer. Later,
Yeah, they
stuff.
do. Oh my God.
And so I did that most recently with Seven Eves, which, by the way,
You like
if you
that?
want, like his stuff, I generally don't like long stories because I lose it. Especially, I love Neil Stephenson. Don't get me wrong, I love
Yes.
Neil Stephenson. If I have a gripe with him, it's that he goes into exquisite detail of things so often
What?
which is okay, except I'm never quite sure, is he just showing off that he did all this research, or do I need to know all this stuff, right? So that's
Yeah.
where I struggle with it, because I'm like, wait, so and this book is about like space stuff, so he's like going into very complex explanations about various orbits that things can be in, and I'm like, wait a minute, do I have to know this? Is this on the test?
Right?
Is this going to? Excuse me. Is this going to be on the quiz? But anyway, but I do like his stuff, and so 70. You would like it. It's a long read,
Okay.
but you would like it. So when you feel like getting into an epic story, I read that. So that's when I did both of them for that as well, because I did go back and forth, and sometimes. Although I will say, so a little here, pro tip, ready? If you do this, listen to the Audible book first, okay? Because I did it wrong with Seven Eves, and I listened to, I read it first, so I had that narration voice in my head of what it sounded like and what the character sounded like, and then I went to the Audible book, and the performer there wasn't quite as good as the one for Bloodlines that we talked about, and so like I don't know if women feel this way when it's the other way around, but when women narrators do the voices for the male characters, I'm like, really? I'm supposed to believe that's a guy? Because it never rings true, right? So I'm guessing it kind of is the same in reverse when the male authors, do the female voices, or narrators. Anyway, so that's my pro tip: is so that at least you have those voices in your head first before you get it, because it was too hard to go bounce back and forth, and it made it very jarring. But it's a great story. It's and fascinating, like to think about, what humans would do in that scenario. So, there you go. 2. That's like a bonus recommendation. Nothing at all to do with Disney, Star Wars, anything. But I love Mr. Stevenson. So.
Well, I read his one right before. I think it was right before Reamdy.
Yes, I'm waiting.
And
yes,
let me tell you something. That is an epic novel as well, and I got into, and it sucked me in pretty quick. But then, like you say, I mean, he does things in such detail that you have to follow along, because you're like, okay, I don't know if this is going to come back later, or if he,
right.
And so, like in the middle, it's just like trudging through mud at a point here and there. It's like, oh my god, like I'm never gonna. And then it like picks up steam again, and then the end is like, okay, I could kind of see that coming a little bit, but
right.
And everything's wrapped up pretty nicely, like, and so it's a good book too, but it was like, it was almost like one of those, well, you suck me in, so I gotta finish. It's like a marathon, right?
Yeah.
I started the race, I'm gonna finish it.
Yeah. And most of his recent stuff is like that. And in fact, Seven Eves really is 2 different stories. That they really should have been a book 1 and a book 2. But
really,
because even in the Audible recording, they switch narrators. They go from a which way do they go? They go from a male to a female, or the other way around. Because it's like it totally shifts in lots of ways. So it's when you get in the mood for a good epic sci-fi, hard sci-fi, right? So that's one good thing about him. For a lot of his stuff is that he'll try to, and why he goes into such detail and he researches it, he tries to make it plausible, right? So anyway, there you go. Extra recommendations.
Excellent. Okay. So I think we're done for this podcast. I think so. We did.
This is what, for people to get. So we've just started putting these up now, right? So this is going to go live soon.
I think by Wednesday or Thursday of this week, we'll have it up. We'll have all 5. This is episode 5, so we'll have all 5 episodes up and available for everybody.
Actually, 6. But
we don't talk about episode 0.
Talk about episode 0. This is a little terrifying. I guess we'll put this out there and see what people think. Huh?
Absolutely terrifying.
Right. But we want feedback, right? So people start with this. Go listen to the other ones. They're amazingly entertaining, and give us some feedback, and we'll probably ignore all of it, but
we have we list our Twitter handles during the outro, and as always at tron.fm you can go there and read the show notes, and I have our Twitter links in there as well, so you can contact us and let us know what you'd like to hear, or what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Hopefully more right than wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know what category that's going to be.
I know.
All right.
Nobody ever calls up to say, "Hey, you're doing a great job."
Hey. Yeah. All right.
So
next
thank you
time.
for listening, everybody. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Terrific Recordings of Nothing. Follow Chris on Twitter and Instagram at CBGray, and Glenn on Twitter and Instagram at DizWiz. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Tron_FM, and on Facebook at Terrific Recordings of Nothing. For all things related to the show, including show notes and links to connect with us, visit us at Tron.fm.